What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are here to once again talk about the WrestleMania build. And as you can tell from from the shirt, I'm recording this right after I finished recording yesterday's video. So this will be dropping on Friday. Obviously SmackDown will be tonight, time of release. It is currently Wednesday. We've still not even had Dynamite tonight. But I do just want to talk about this WrestleMania build, because I've been talking about it for a while, and I've been saying that this WrestleMania build feels underbaked, it feels underwhelming, and to be completely honest, it's the least I've cared about WrestleMania in a very long time. Which is insane, because like I repeatedly say, this WrestleMania should have been a slam dunk. Like I've been saying since the road to WrestleMania officially began at the Royal Rumble, almost every single choice has been completely and utterly baffling, confusing, misguided, misjudged, wrong, incorrect, and just downright stupid. At the very best, this WrestleMania build feels like a complete fucking mess, and at the very worst, this WrestleMania build feels almost like they're insulting our intelligence and just saying, you'll buy WrestleMania because it's, or you'll watch WrestleMania, I guess it's on Netflix, but you know, at the worst, it feels like them saying, you're still going to watch it, it's on Netflix, it's so easy for you to watch it, Cena's there, you'll be here, ha ha. It feels like an insult to the fans almost. That's how confusing to bad this build has been. And let's just take it right back to the start. In fact, let's take it before the Royal Rumble. Let's take it to Saturday night's main event, a week before the Royal Rumble. Gunther wrestled Jey Uso, beat him fairly handily. For the third time now, I believe. That is the third time that Gunther has beat Jey Uso, and for the third time beat him fairly convincingly. So we get to the Royal Rumble a week later, and who wins? Jey Uso. And who does he call his shot against? Gunther. After he's been beat 3 times by Gunther. 3 times convincingly. No roll-ups, no false finishes, no ref bumps, no nothing. Just outclassed at every step of the way by Gunther. And then he wins a week after challenging again. And again, I would never have been a fan of Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. We know my thoughts on Jey Uso. He is a talented tag guy, an incredibly limited singles guy who took his most interesting attribute and ruined it all for that. But I'd have been much more willing to be taken along for the ride if we hadn't literally just seen the champ beat him convincingly and retain his championship, almost without a second thought. On the other hand, we have it being John Cena's final WrestleMania. He makes it to the final 2 of the Royal Rumble. Everyone thinks Cena's going to win. Cena does not win. Cena then announces that he is going to be in the chamber. He wins the chamber. Great. The Rock comes out, because The Rock's in this story, even though it's not clear if he's even going to be at WrestleMania, and realistically he's probably not, because he's not got his own way. And after telling Cody Rhodes that actually you're going to wrestle me for that championship because of reasons, Cody says no, and then Cena turns heel, disappears off TV for a while, is only seen 3 more times between then and WrestleMania, and I believe there was 6 episodes of TV in between. Now I know we still have one more Raw before Mania, but Cena was off TV for the most of it, cut the same promo back to back weeks and added little bits here and there because they clearly had no idea what they actually wanted to do. It's very clear that the plan was for Cody to turn heel, who said no. Of course he said no. I remember the Codyverse. And Cena just went, yeah, that'll be fun. Why not? And they never once actually thought what would happen. Why would we do this? What is the motivation for Cena to do this, to get to Cody, to get to 17? What is the interesting story we can tell here? Because it's not been an interesting story they've been telling. And if we're talking about WrestleMania main events, let's talk about the main event of night 1. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. A match I'm fairly excited for, but a match I do not think should be main eventing. And as me, maybe the biggest Phil guy you know, to say that Phil should not have his WrestleMania main event this year, that's insane. And listen, I get what's probably the thought process here. He missed Mania last year due to injury. He's 46. He'll be 47 at Mania next year. Let's maybe not tempt fate. Let's maybe not give him it this year. He picks up a big injury. He's probably only got another couple of years left as a full-time guy. We don't want to give him his main event when he's old and past it and like thoroughly taking that position out of the hands of a younger talent. Which I guess there is a case to be made that he's doing so here, but I think the run he's been on since he came back, he's you know, for me, probably my second favourite run of Punk's career throughout my lifetime, from what I consciously remember. Obviously I know how good the Ring of Honor Summer of Punk was. I wasn't really watching that. For me, number 1 is fairly simple. AEW from All Out to Brawl Out, that first year, untouchable. Incredible matches, incredible stories. was on TV all the time wrestling guys like Lee Moriarty, and I even had a fun match with John Silver, going on pay-per-view as well, having the matches with Kingston and Hangman and Darby, and his comeback match with Darby, which is one of my favourite CM Punk matches ever. We've got the MJF feud in there. We have him winning the championship. We then have his kind of feuds with Mox and that banger at All Out, all before he got in a fight with his bosses, and everything went downhill. And then really number 2 for me is this current run that he's been on in WWE. Now obviously I was watching WWE as a kid, and I remember, that version of the Summer of Punk. I remember the Heyman guy stuff, I remember all that. But I was kind of more tapped in on TNA at that time. Big Alex Shelley kid. So for me, as good as that run was, and as fond memories I have of that run, again, as well as such a big fan of CM Punk, knowing that that's the kind of time where he began to lose his love for pro wrestling and eventually essentially be chased out of pro wrestling by Vince McMahon firing him on his birthday. That I don't have as much love in my heart for that period of time as others do. So I do think there is an argument to be said that maybe he has taken the main event slot away from a younger talent here, but I think you strike while the iron is hot. However, you strike while the iron is hot with something that makes sense, because as I said in that video, it's interesting for him to be wrestling Seth, it's interesting for him to be wrestling Roman, it's not interesting for all three of them to be wrestling each other thematically. It's also obviously interesting for Seth and Roman to wrestle, as it will always be. And the very simple fix to this is quite simple. You put Drew in this match. That's the story. Then add to this, every time that they want to add more mystique and intrigue to this, they just do bullshit. You owe me a favour now because I didn't stomp you on your head. By that logic, he owes Tommy Dreamer a million fucking favours for not upping Paul at WrestleMania. I'm sure that match will be good, and I am so incredibly happy that CM Punk is finally getting his WrestleMania main event. However, that match, on paper and thematically, and as someone who loves, stories in pro wrestling, even though we're not going to talk about storytelling versus in-ring work, not today anyway, that's a little hint. I don't find this match entirely interesting, and I think there's a lot more interesting things we can be doing here. Then as we go further down the card, I will get back to some other matches that we are thinking about in a minute. We're looking at what has currently been announced. We have a 4-way for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. 10 out of 10, no notes. I know we just saw Braun Breaker hit that spear. Dominic Mysterio has to turn on Finn here, doesn't he? Dominic Mysterio has to turn on Finn here. It's got to be. I can't wait. I'm very excited for this. I don't have any beef with this. But also, we're talking about the Mysterio family. His deadbeat father is going to be wrestling El Grande Americano in a story that is, at best, clumsy, and at worst, downright gross. We've been over this in the Raw review, again, with the El Grande Americano stuff. And, God love Chad Gable. He's done everything they've thrown at him. Why can this not just be Mysterio versus Gable for the sake of hoops? Now, he's going to be unmasked in this match, and it's going to be a big moment, and then, he's probably going to eat a 619 or whatever, but, just unleash my fucking demon. Let's just unleash my demon. For the love of God. Let's run through some other things that have been announced for the show then. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul will probably be a good match objectively. Why should I care? I don't like or care about Logan Paul. I love AJ Styles, who is apparently soon to be out of contract and is maybe looking at pastures new. And they say, hey, wrestle the YouTuber and lose more than likely. We have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. 10 out of 10, no notes. I am moved considerably. Another match that I have spoken about on this channel, we have Jade versus Naomi, a match that is not going to be as interesting as it would be if Bianca could be involved, but of course Bianca cannot be involved because she is in the match for the Women's World Championship, which, again, the person who is the most interesting connection in this story is not a part of it. And yeah, these two are feuding because Naomi killed Jade and fucking threw her into traffic or whatever. But the real emotional crux of this is what this did to Bianca and how Bianca's two friends and the jealousy between her two friends. And she is the real emotional crux of this. And she has a match at Mania that now all of her attention in the storyline is going to. So right now we're trying to build this feud that was built around Bianca's friendship with both of them without Bianca being there. I don't care about that match. We have the Io, Bianca and Rhea match, and the story there is that Bianca and Rhea are continuously undervaluing Io, who is the champ. Fair enough, that's kind of interesting. As long as Io wins convincingly, I don't think it's entirely interesting otherwise. again, a confusing build. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Tiffany Stratton going God mode, going scorched earth on Charlotte, who is once again proving that if she doesn't like you, it's just going to be a fucking nightmare to work with her. And, you know, I saw a tweet recently, it was like, I've not watched wrestling for this long. Was Charlotte ever good enough for us to be dealing with this bullshit? And yes, there was a point where she was, not anymore. I was very excited for this match. I'm kind of excited to see if it becomes a bit of a car crash, a bit of a train wreck. You know, that one I don't have opinions either way on. I'm excited for it, but I'm like, if this is a nightmare, yeah, maybe. I don't have any hopes for it except to be entertained, which I think it will be. And then finally, the last match I really want to talk about is Gunther versus Jey Uso, which I know I spoke about at the start, but for all of this build, Gunther has pretty much basically just said, I am better than you, you do not deserve this spot, nobody wants to see you beat me, nobody actually likes you when the bell rings, all you do is this, I am a real wrestler, you are nothing, fuck off out of my ring. And as good as that is, at no point do we, as the audience, side with the babyface. We're like, yeah, everything he said is real. And then he killed his brother. And Jay came out still through the crowd wearing a black shirt. No Yeet, still had his fucking Yeet glasses on, obviously. I'm pretty sure he was just wearing his Yeet shirt backwards instead of just wearing a black t-shirt. And when he's cutting this promo, when he's cutting this impassioned promo about how Gunther murdered his brother, Big Jim ran the blade for the love of the game. When he's cutting this promo about how Gunther done that to his brother and he's crossed the line, the crowd are still going, Yeet. The Bloodline have ruined the brains of all professional wrestling fans in the world, and I'm sick of it. All of this is to say that this WrestleMania build has been incredibly confusing. Nothing here feels like it's going to stick the landing, and to be completely, or nothing feels like a guarantee to stick the landing, I should say. And if we're being completely honest, we should have more time. None of these stories feel full and complete and formed, and we are 3 episodes of television away from WrestleMania. 4 if you count NXT. But, like, there's no NXT matches on Mania. We have SmackDown, at the time this video comes out tonight, we have Raw, we have SmackDown, and then we go into WrestleMania. In fact, do we even have SmackDown next week? Because WrestleMania is a 2-night thing. When is Stand and Deliver? Oh no, Stand and Deliver's on the 19th as well, I'll just be through the day. Okay, cool. So, we have 3 episodes of TV, we have 2 SmackDowns, and we have 1 Raw to get everything in motion for WrestleMania. And we are way more than 3 episodes of TV away from being WrestleMania ready. None of these stories feel finished. Cena's heel turn is not defined. Nobody is going to cheer for Jey Uso because everyone is on Gunther's side. We have a confusing, convoluted mess just to get CM Punk into a WrestleMania main event. There's a chance that Drew won't make Mania because he got glass in his eye for real, and even if he was going to make it, he was going to be in a match against Damian Priest that realistically, the story for that is also dog shit. Drew cut this promo saying Priest is the one who gained everything from all of his downfalls. Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank on Drew after CM Punk took him out at WrestleMania. And then CM Punk cost Drew that championship in his home country to have Damian Priest retain, and other things that happened. And all that promo said is basically Drew McIntyre said, I actually can't get my lick back on Punk, so I'm going to take it out on you, who just happened to be there at the time. And then he eliminated me from the Rumble. Like, none of that makes sense. None of these stories make sense. And we are 10 days from WrestleMania as I sit here and record this video. 8 days from WrestleMania by the time you actually watch this video. I just don't care. I do not care about WrestleMania, which is insane because of who I am as a person. I don't know. Again, like I said in my AEW video from yesterday, I want to come on this channel and talk about wrestling and be positive about wrestling because I love professional wrestling. But it's been so confusing and frustrating. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. I don't know what is going on. We have 3 episodes of TV. Please, for the love of God, fix this. So, that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the WrestleMania build down below. Let me know if you are excited for the show. Let me know if you're not excited for the show. Same reasons, different reasons. Let me know what you think of all of this down below. Like I said, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Share this around to all your mates and tell them about the handsome man on YouTube with the good wrestling opinions. Once again, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.